6,000 talents, and we are tending towards 6,500. We'll update that data very soon, as soon as we hit the mark, the 6,500 mark. As well as delivered over 7,000 course hours, we're also approaching over 7,300. As soon as we hit that, update that data. And we have a goal to 2030 to skill 10 million talents, and we are aggressively pursuing that goal. In terms of data, because the part of what we take at the academy, in terms of data science and analytics, strategic HR analytics, business analytics, and all the other courses that we do, the academy ensure during the course of this training, these sessions rather, or these summits, you get more details from the moderators. I can say practically that we do, and a testimonial to that is the different I want to call products that we are churning and the kind of talent we are also deploying into the space. Just to mention on this call, for every small enterprise or micro small medium enterprise on the call, we automatically have a 50% discount on our business automation system. And this system was built by participants who currently are done from the academy. And this system you can automate as an organization, whether an SME or MSME rather, your finance, your contracts, staff management, payroll, and every of your business activities can be done on this business automation system, which can also be likened to an ERP system. Like I said, the interesting thing around this system and why we're doing this is because the development of the workings around how that system was built. I will share the link on the chat box as soon as I'm done, built around for those who have learned at the academy. So it's been just speaking around the pragmatic way we deploy learning at the academy. There are other benefits. I'm sure Kenny will read it out, like some participants on the call we leave with a copy of my HR storybook by Lara Yeko. I was currently on the call as well. So that's what we do at the academy. We've also built other solutions around the learning and LMS, but we call it an e-learning and mentoring platform, and that speaks to the objective for why, aside learning and development that we do, we also have a focus of bridging the learning gap between the industry and the classroom. This is just a brief thing about us, and I would hand over to Kenny. Kenny, just to be sure that you can hear me, thank you for having me handing this back to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, JC. Thank you for that brief introduction about the AnyPro Data Academy. All right, next on our agenda is welcoming one of our panelists for today, Lara Yeku, who would shed more light on what EAWID is all about, the aims and the objectives of the platform. Excuse me. A brief profile on Lara Yeku before I welcome her on stage. Lara Yeku is a global HR leader, HR strategist, and a career coach, a speaker, and an author who is well recognized for her immense contribution to the current trends and practices and the evolutions of the HR management in Nigeria. Frequently consulted for expertise in design thinking and a distinctive HR capabilities that enabled organizational growth through business-driven HR transformation. Lara currently sits at the head of Human Resource Food Divisions at Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC. In this capacity, she's responsible for providing strategic HR leadership to position the conglomerate as the leading food and agro-allied group in Africa. An accomplished HR field specialist from Cornell University in US, Lara is certified as a talent acquisition strategist from the Human Capital Institute, an associate member of the CIPM, and a graduate member of Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. In 2008, Lara joined the HR team at Accenture. She's deeply committed to empowering young professionals to succeed by helping them discover and refine and unleash their talents through creative work outlets that result in profitable employment for them. In keeping a vision to equip young professionals, she recently authored the first ever innovative visionary mentoring through storytelling concept book, My HR Storybook, for young professionals. She sits on the advisory board of 2 NGOs and the lead sponsor at AnyPro Academy Women in Data Analysts. analytics. Let's welcome our panelists with a round of applause. Lara Yeko, it's good to have you here today. Please welcome onto the stage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gemstar. Kenny, good to see you here, sis. Looking beautiful.
Same here.
Always. Thank you for that warm welcome. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's an honor to have everyone spend some time out of their Sunday with us today. I want to especially welcome our special guest today. I mean, when it's time for their session, we will do a proper introduction. Thank you, everyone. Adetutu Blessing, Clarice Grace, Uhoma, Kemi, a whole lot of everyone on today. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't read out all your names, but please do accept that we appreciate you making out some time this afternoon. Okay, so once again, good evening, distinguished women, and of course, a couple of men are in here today. We are glad to have you amongst us. It's my pleasure to welcome everyone to this wonderful and enlightening NUPRO Alumni Women in Data conference. I'd like to extend my special welcome to our guests in the house once again. While we are all excited about this evening, I would also like to especially appreciate and welcome our board chair, my sis, my friend, Tinuke Bosun Okunsaga. Thank you, Tinu, for all you do in terms of ensuring that we get women increase their data capability. Thank you so much, sis, for your support. I mean, at NUPRO, thank you. At NUPRO, Women in Data, basically, what our goal really is around how do we further bring awareness in terms of the opportunities that is available for women to upskill in data and analytics. This part of NUPRO's goal, like Jesse rightly mentioned, is to equip 5 million women in getting them started with data by year 2030. This is a huge goal, but we believe that for us to be able to achieve this goal, that we have to take baby steps. We have to be intentional. We have to be purposeful in ensuring that we get more women to get aware in terms of data and how can they use data to upskill themselves, especially in the new world of work that we are in now. Our objective, like I mentioned, is to equip women with requisite skills, to inspire them, get them excited about data and analytics. I personally enjoy data. I mean, it just also helps bring a new flavor to how you deliver your work in the workplace. Another objective is to increase women involvement and participation at our trainings. Of course, this ties to us achieving our overall goal, and overall to help upskill and bridge the gap when it comes to data, having more women participate in that field. So basically, it's really around creating more awareness, letting women know what opportunities are available for them. And of course, we have a couple of exciting packages. It's a couple of women have enjoyed scholarship. They've enjoyed some form of freebies. They've enjoyed some form of, free opportunities through mentoring. I personally have benefited from mentoring under NUPRO, and there's a whole lot of other opportunity for women under NUPRO. I'd like to tell everyone to please relax. We are here to learn and have fun. It's going to be an exciting time. And on that note, I'll hand over back to the moderator to continue this session. Thank you, everyone, once again. I look forward to an enjoyable and impactful, enlightening, exciting learning session this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara Yeku, and I'm sure it's just going to be very impactful because I look forward to to learning from the speakers today. All right, without much further ado, I'd like to move on to the business of today while I welcome one of the guest speakers for today, Eitayo Iyo team. Welcome once again to our session of the EAWID Summit. We thank you for gracing this occasion and taking our time to attend this session. All right, so Sarah, do me the honor to give a profile on our guest speaker for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Eitayo Iyo team is an organizational psychologist, human resource management specialist, and ICT project manager with 3 years experience in project management, training solutions, software implementation, sales, change management, and organizational development. She's a technology enthusiast who certified in software development in the late 90s and is now focused on user experience management, data integrity, and internet governance. Her career successes include setting up training academies across Ghana and Nigeria for one of the world's largest software companies, building transformation programs for employees of some of the largest organizations in Nigeria, and managing key relationships for a global brand at C-level. Eitayo has an MSc in Organizational Psychology from the University of Manchester, UK. She's a member of the Life Coaches Association of Nigeria and the British Psychological Society. Until recently, Eitayo served as Chief Operating Officer at Nigeria Internet Registration Association. She's a Managing Partner and Chief Experience Officer at Talent Urbanity and also the founder of Western Coaching. Let's welcome our distinguished and esteemed speaker, Eitayo. Welcome, Eitayo.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is exciting for me. And those who know me know that I focus on women. So I'm doing it in HR, I'm doing it in data science, and it's exciting to be here. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity, AnyPro. I have spent the last few days learning about AnyPro, and I must say that you're doing amazing, amazing work. Thank you for what you are doing. I hope I will also take advantage of some of the courses, who knows. So can I share my screen? Yes, I can. So I'm going to try this evening not to straddle very technical and non-technical, functional. And this is the place that I have always tried to be. You see, software is very important, data is very useful, but if the people cannot get value from it, then it's just something. And so I'm going to try and talk around harnessing data science and solving business and economic problems or challenges, but I'm going to straddle functional and technical, and I hope that sounds like a plan for everybody. So I work for an organization, I'm a co-founder for an organization called Talent Urbanity, and the goal is to bring data and HR together, to marry them in recruitment, to marry them in assessments, in performance management, and so on. I also do quite a bit of work in HR, and there's not enough time for me to tell you how I got there, but I got there a long time ago, and it's exciting. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that, or where I want to start this evening, is that COVID-19 made the world become just more complex. There's no going around the conversations around what has happened post-COVID-19. I was asking somebody, post-COVID-19, post-COVID, do you know what it means? It means for the rest of our lives. COVID-19 has happened, and it has happened to our health, our money, logistics, travel, food, sales, mental health, only to mention a few. So if you think that your business has been impacted by COVID-19, yes, it is one of those factors that have happened to us as a globe, it's global. So each nation, each economy, and everywhere you go, people are grappling with their own peculiar challenges that have to do with the effects of COVID-19 and how we're responding to them. Businesses all over the world are devising new ways. Logistics has become the way. Everybody's delivering now. And even when we can, we no longer want to go because we can have everything delivered. And I'm talking about literally everything. So some businesses have grown. It's not all tales of woe. Some businesses have grown. Food has grown if you know where to find it. So I found this chart that McKinsey prepared in 2020. At that point, I'm not sure that any of us understood the ramifications of what COVID-19 was about to do to the world. We thought that we were grappling with something like Ebola, something like SARS, you know, something close. We had no idea just how pervasive in our lives COVID-19 was going to be. So I'm going to just quickly go through the things that they advised at that time organizations to do, and this will kind of provide a background for the conversation that we're going to have. Now, they packaged it as 5 R's: resolve, resilience, return, reimagination, and reform. And I'm just going to go through them. Resolve. Now, understand the immediate challenges. It is so important that people understand that we are not going back to normal. So people say the new normal. And I say, well, when you put normal there, people still think that, okay, we're just modifying how we used to do business. Not at all. If data was important in 2019, it is, I don't know how many percent more important right now. It is so important that you are able to, at a glance, visualize, predict, respond. And let me not go further before I talk about resilience. Yes. So resilience is about addressing near-term cash management challenges. So there was a problem with sourcing funds. Funds became scarce because people, first of all, there was a lot of panic, and then businesses couldn't make money. So the businesses that used to allow funds to go around, because of the lockdown, funds were no longer going around. And so there was it was choked. There was a strangling of funds around businesses. Then return. When will people be able to return to normal? Truly understand what normal would mean. And this is a challenge. Reimagination. We needed to now picture how the world would be in 2021, where we are now, in 2022 and beyond. How is the world of work going to be? How is the world's economy going to be? Who has evolved as the new super players in the economy? What kind of businesses are surviving? What kind of, let me just give the example of the 7-Up bottling company. There's a brand of hand sanitizer that is theirs, and it was all over the place. You know, you'd go into a big supermarket and it's right there, they have a stand. They were so quick to reimagine and respond. Then reform. What are the things that we need to change because of the new normal? Everybody now wears it. You can almost forget and come to a Zoom call with your mask on. At the beginning, people said to me, oh, I can't breathe with it. You know, you tell employees, you need to put on your mask. Oh, I can't breathe. Now it has become so normal that in my car, I have a spare pack, in case I get into the car and forget. I have some in my bag, hand sanitizers everywhere. So we have become reformed by no conscious decision of ours. Something happened and we had to change. Change requires data and information. It is impossible for you to respond to anything if you don't have enough information about it. So the world economy needs data. Your business needs it even more. And you know, people say, oh God, when you talk about data, just relax. Because all we're talking about is the facts and the figures. So there are some questions that all businesses must answer. They must ask it and they must answer it in all sincerity and with goals. So who needs data? Everybody. But who in the organization needs data? HR needs data. Finance needs data. Logistics needs data. Security needs data. So operations can't do without data. So everybody needs data. What data do they need? What do they need this data for? So what kind of decisions do you want to take that you need your data for? And let me bring it home. So in the house, we go to the supermarket. I don't know how you do it. Many of us do bulk shopping because we're working. And so we cannot go to the market all the time. So you have an idea of what your monthly allocation in certain shops are. So that is data. So I need for spa, this is what I need. For this shop, this is what I need. For the open market, this is what I need. To order my meat, this is what I need. And thank goodness that some of us who have been working for so long, we're already used to having so many things delivered. You just don't have the time to go and haggle in the market. Where do they need this data from? It is so important that we understand sources of data. So these are the kind of thoughts that drive your collection and your analysis, your reporting, and so on of data. When do they need it? So yeah, operations, they need data about how many people they need to prepare for a certain event. So they need security, they need to bring in security. How many people, are we talking about one security guard for every 20 people? And so how many people have registered? Suddenly, oh, registration is important. How many are going to be physically on site? How many are going to be online? These are points, data points of data that suddenly you cannot take any decision without understanding those data points. How will this facilitate business? So you come and ask me for a bulk sum. You're in HR, somebody's being recruited, and you come and say, well, this is the package we've agreed on. How will this give me, what's the ROI? So the CFO is asking, what is the possible ROI? What does this person bring to the table? And HR needs to justify, and so we need charts. We need charts and graphs. We need to talk about experience. We need to talk about numbers. What kind of numbers has this person managed in their old organization? Data is king. Now, what will it improve? So if I have this piece of data, what is it going to do for me? So if I know how many people are in a building, what does it improve for me? Oh, you might say, oh, it doesn't really improve anything, but do you know that the number of air conditioners and how much power is going to be used is dependent on how many offices are open on a particular day? Have you thought about it? So in order to, optimize your power use, you can actually start to group people into rooms. And suddenly you reduce how many air conditioners are on. I'm talking about data, breaking it down. It's important for all of us to be able to break it down so that we can use it. How can it be trusted? Now, there's a lot of, I cannot tell you how many I receive. And if your parents are on WhatsApp, like mine, then you probably receive all those. I do not give permission to WhatsApp. I do not give permission to Facebook to do so and so. And then I smile. In 2012, I went to attend a training on the Internet of Things. I left that training feeling exposed, for want of a better word. Like, oh my goodness. The predictive power of data.
I want to screenshot. Since I'm not following, let me just screenshot.
Oh, you finished your meeting.
Sorry, I got muted. I think the host muted. Sorry. So the predictive power of data, you cannot overemphasize it. You cannot undermine it. You need to be able to plan. And in order to be able to plan, I need data. How will we know the impact of data? Measurements. I need reports. So suddenly data is taking on like, oh, it's so massive. Data is so important. It's processing is what we want to talk about, but you need to understand just how key it is. For me, people say content is king. I say data is king. And it is not a cliche. If you really want to take advantage of data, then you need to process it. So raw data in its raw form, if I tell you, my name is Eawid, organizational psychologist, HR practitioner. In itself, the data points, everything that I have said does not make sense. If I add it together, if I process it and say Eawid is an organizational psychologist and an HR practitioner, I have given you information, and that information has convinced you to stay and listen. So we need to understand that data is one of the parameters for decision making, but that it is in pieces. You need to extract the relevant information from every piece, every item of data that you find. And you need to protect the integrity so that data can be trusted. If data cannot be trusted, then the information that you're extracting from that data cannot be trusted either. We need to be able to collaborate with it. You have to be able to share so that other units in the business, other businesses in your economy, other countries in the world as a global space needs to be able to say, this is what it is, and we need to be able to do it by number. So I say, if data is king, then those who can assess it, process it, and secure it are the king makers. These are the people that we need to respect. And so we want to talk about what it is about data science, what it is. Is it complex? Is it really complex? Or is it something that we can work around? So even though data is king, we must remember that it is still mostly raw facts, statistics. They may not be very useful to you in their raw form. But this data in its raw form, as it is crucial for the measurement, for the recording, for the predicting, and for the reporting that needs to go on within a business, within an economy, within a structure, within government. With everywhere that you need to take decisions, data is king. Data needs to be converted into information that is accurate, is timely, is specific, is purposeful, and is contextual. Let me add secure as well. When you convert it, the integrity of the data must not be marred when you convert it. You have to convert it in a way that it remains useful and it can be optimized. So if we want to process data, then we must employ a very diverse range of skills and tools. And I just want to touch on those skills and tools. This is probably the most important slide I'm going to share today. There are some skills that are so essential in data science. And if we do not start to master these skills, the world is going to run away with us literally in every form. Yesterday, I was sharing in a parenting group and I was talking about technology and teenagers and how to manage it. And it's interesting how parenting is becoming, something that you need to actually sit down and list out the skills that you need to develop and develop them. So we are now talking technical skills in parenting, so you can even understand what is going on. So first thing I want to talk about is visualization. If data cannot be put in a picture, and I'm not talking about an image, if data cannot be presented in a way that when I look at it, I can make sense of it, and I'll give you an example. If you see a graph, and it has years on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, it has percentages, and you see it going up, it tells you that whatever is being measured on the y-axis, and I hope this is not overly technical, it's a technical session. Whatever is being measured on the y-axis, I can see that it is increasing, whatever it is. It's increasing over the years because I can see the graph. So if you just present the graph to me, in 2 seconds, I can tell you that whatever that factor is going up. Whatever that factor is increasing. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a decision that I need to make. So we have tables, we have sheets, we have graphs. These are critical. Visualization is critical to data skills. So if you do not know how to convert, create simple graphs in Excel, for example, create workflows in Excel. If those visualization skills are not built, then the gap widens because visualization is like just basics. Then we move to interpretation. All decision makers in an organization have to be able to interpret the information that they are given. So even if I give you a graph, and let's say that what it is measuring, for example, is poverty metrics. So let's say purchasing power. So if the purchasing power seems to be going down over the years, which means that my graph was high here and then it's going down, and you have 2010 to 2020, and you want to do a developmental initiative, and I give you that graph. If you cannot interpret that what it is saying is that purchasing power over the years is declining, if you cannot make that judgment, then that graph is not useful to you. So the other skill that we must start to recognize and we must start to build is the skill of interpretation. When a report is given to you, you have to be able to interpret that report. The other skill I want to talk about is database management. And I'm going into the place where a few people might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But you see, without understanding the use of a database, without understanding database libraries, without understanding a little bit of how to manipulate data, no matter how functional your role is, you have to be able to understand SQL libraries. I didn't say use them. You have to be able to understand them. So when you are transmitting what you want, the information you want to be extracted from a collection of data, whatever it is, many times, what we used to see when I used to implement software is a functional person gives an instruction as if they expect that it's going to be handled manually. But this instruction needs to be written out into a query, right? Because we use queries to extract whatever information you want. Now, if you do not give me something that can be used in a query, then I cannot give you the information you need for decision making. So you have to understand a little bit about database queries, about libraries, just fundamentals. Everybody who's a manager, everybody who's a business person needs to understand what these mean, how they work, and what they do. Querying and reporting. So I had spoken about queries earlier. Now, there are some computer applications now. I mean, I started programming in Fortran and COBOL, so I can tell you web applications are a breeze. Let nobody tell you different. So the kind of software we're using now, Python is so beautiful to use. And we have PyCharm and we have some others that you use. I use PyCharm, so I don't know, as my own scripting application for Python. But I'm telling you that some of these, the words are, naming something Python, like really. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, no, now we're coming from C++, sharp, C#, and then you start talking about Python. Why? But the way that data needs to be manipulated and processed, if you don't understand the basics, it might be difficult for, you ask a question and say, this is what I want to see. What you want to see needs to be configured so that it can be extracted. So querying and reporting is also key. Now, these skills are very straightforward. Trust me, they are very straight. If you are functional and you're not technical, just understanding how they work can help you change your mind about how you want your information to be presented. Just understanding the wide ramifications of, there's so much we can do in our studio, for example. There's so much that you can do. It's really vast. So understanding that I can get so much information from my data, from my body of data, is big. And it's something that we must all work towards. So if anything doesn't make sense to you, then you can't rely on it. So if you want to optimize data, whatever data it is, you need tools. These tools are known as data science tools. So I've been talking about the skills I want to talk about. Are used for drilling down into complex data by extraction, by processing, and by analyzing. This is what we have been talking about. They are so important because they help the business to generate useful information without which the data is practically meaningless. So if you give data and the person puts beautiful graphs and, maybe a few pie charts and gives it to you. If this information cannot help you predict, if it cannot help you make sense of the business, if it doesn't move the business forward, then it's still meaningless to you, even though the information, the data has been converted to information. But this information, what does it help me to do? Does it help me understand how many employees I need now? Imagine skill sets. So when we do recruitment and I ask, why do you need this person? Why do you need this role? Where's the gap that you want to fill? If I don't understand the gap you want to fill, then I might recruit the right person by job description, but the person might not fit into that culture, in that role for what they want to perform. HR people understand what I'm talking about. So the skills can be right, the experience can be right, but organizational culture is not a fit because of where the person is coming from. So businesses have to be able to generate information that is useful. It's not just about being able to process the data, it's about also being able to make sense of it and to use it for the organization's good. So these tools rely on, basically, in my opinion, 4 skills. And I want to say the first is deep learning. You have to be willing to sit at it. You have to be willing to sit at it. And I still remember when virtualization became a thing. For those of us who had done server administration and needed to learn virtualize, it was such a big word. So the first time I sat in a class, I think for the first 30 minutes, I was telling myself, nah, I'm not going to bother. No, I don't need it. No. Do you know? So there was a blocking that I did. And I'm hoping that at the end of today, you will remove the blocks that you have as well in terms of data science. And I'll tell you why when I'm at the end. So there are some key processes which need to be performed in order for us to be able to make sense of our data, for the organization and the business, whatever it is, to be able to use the data properly. Data collection, it's key. I remember working in a certain organization and we needed people to manually fill forms, obviously, for us to upload the forms. We're implementing an HRIS. Okay, that's Human Resource Information System. Sorry, pardon me. And so the data, the initial point of data collection was forms. And we said, oh, write in block letter, make sure your email is in block letters, make sure you write clearly. But I tell you, for every 50 forms, we probably had to go and look for the person that filled a minimum of 5. So there was like a 10% error rate. And even when it was time to clean the data, we spent weeks just making sure that we haven't started the processing. Data collection is an art. Don't ever think that, oh, just put the interns. It's just to key in data. If at data collection, there is an error, that error permeates all the way to results, all the way to your reports. It means that your reports are flawed. So just, understand that. Processing. What will I use? What do I want to use it for? How do I want to process it? What queries do I want to run? Analysis. Is this data relevant across board? Is it relevant in all situations? Can this problem be replicated such that we can test that this solution to the problem? These are the practical questions that data helps you to answer. Protection. Okay, so with the GDPR and, okay, no, it's called the NDPR here, yes. With the NDPR and all that is going on, suddenly data protection is important. How much of individuals' data can be transmitted? How can it be transmitted? Where are the secure modes? So suddenly security comes in, and that is big. Cybersecurity is so big as well. And cybersecurity is big because you will use the internet or even the intranet, which most of the time has a point out. But even within the organization, there are loopholes, and I don't want to go that far, but just understand that data protection is important. You can no longer just treat data like it's just a fact. How important is it? I remember, in those days, you would buy akara, and they would use somebody's travel form to wrap it, because organizations will get rid of paper and give it to the woman by the roadside. With all that is going on now, suddenly, well, paper is going out anyway, but with organizations that still need to collect data, the initial data collection point still needs to be hard copy. Those organizations now need to have very, very straightforward, defined ways to deal with the data after it has been used, after it has been collated. The raw sources of data, what do you do with them? Dissemination, who needs to know what? Workflows and authorizations are key once you start working with data. You cannot but have defined workflows and authorizations in any business. Imagine if your sales girl, so let's break it down to, I have a shop, provision store. Imagine if your sales girl had access to how much is actually in the account. She'll suddenly start asking for more pay, maybe. And then who knows? In these days of insecurity, anything can happen. So access, dissemination of information, who do you want to know what? Many organizations have very serious authorization systems, and you should have one too, no matter how small your business is. Not everything is for everybody's knowledge. And then application. After this data has been processed, what are you going to use it for? We have organizations that just do reports and reports and reports, and those reports are not used when those decisions are going to be taken. And this can be a huge challenge. It is important that those reports are used when decisions are going to be taken. So what are the advantages of these delicate operations that we've been talking about of data? Now, it helps you to measure, to plan, and to act. You are not acting arbitrarily. You are now acting based on sources of information that you can trust, because you've put in place a data process that works. You've taken care of security, you've taken care of applications, you've taken care of the skills that you need. You're no longer taking decisions off the top of your hat. You are now sitting and taking informed decisions. I want to believe that this is where the phrase came from, using information to take decisions, like informed decisions. You can now monitor your business. You can see what's happening with the graphs. You can see what's happening with the money in the bank. You can see what's happening with suppliers, with vendors. You can see what is happening with clients. You can have a client relationship management system that gives you so much information. You can know which opportunities are going to turn into leads and which leads are going to close as sales if you're doing sales. You can understand, okay, an application that wants to deploy, what is the possible return on investment? Has there been an ROI plan? You can understand a recruitment plan. What do I need now? What am I going to need in 5 years' time? How do I work towards it? Okay, are there people already in this organization based on a needs analysis that can grow into these roles? So is there a succession plan in your organization? These are, ways to monitor business health using data. How about quality control? Just understanding that this data is clean because it has gone through this process and this process and this process. It gives you rest of mind. Then you can find out the root causes of a problem. So if there's a problem that has a repetitive cycle, then if I'm already collecting data and I'm looking at the information and I can see a pattern, identifying patterns is key in HR, and it's key in operations as well. Being able to see patterns. So data helps you to see patterns. Good information from good data helps you to see patterns. Resource utilization. You need to know who is doing what where. How much is being spent for what? How much is being made? What's the profit margin? How much can I afford to spend? What's the budget? How are we performing against budget? All this data. So these are so important because you can also evaluate your successes and failures. You can make a plan. You can evaluate. You can say, oh no, we're not going that way anymore. We did that last year. These are the results from last year. So can we try something else? So these are, ways that you can also establish benchmarks and standards in your organization. So data is king. Data is king. But then let's now talk about the gender side. So let's do a little bit of gender math. Yeah. Software does not know gender, but the gap in data science has remained wide. Using data from LinkedIn, the WEF 2020 Global Gender Gap shows that women make up only 26% of professionals in data and AI, artificial intelligence. I actually had to think for a minute. AI, artificial intelligence. So 26%, but how many women are in the workforce? It's moving. I hear from post-COVID that we actually got some women actually leaving the workforce. And I haven't seen in any of the reports, I was looking at the McKinsey reports, the current reports for KPMG as well, and I haven't seen any data. I don't know if you have found the data for who's leaving and who's coming in and what factors, have played into, you see, we're talking data science, what factors have played into this and what can be done. In a recent study, it was found that men and women possessed comparable proficiency in subject matter expertise in technology and programming and maths or statistics. So there is no mental block. There is no gender disparity when it comes to our ability to process data, when it comes to our ability to participate in data science and to use it in our functional roles, so that our functional roles we can really do. And I found this, it's a little bit old, but I thought it was still quite valid, particularly because I'm talking from Nigeria, I work here. So these are 10 simple rules, and I'm going to run through them. So the first thing is your recruitment process. Is it looking at diverse candidate pools? So there's some questions I see, you know, in when we do assessment centers for organizations, and many times you can't change what the organization has decided they want to put in, but those questions are already biased, or they introduce bias into the process. So your recruitment process needs to be as diverse and as inclusive as possible. Pay equity, you know the numbers. I don't know if any study has been done in Nigeria for pay equity. I haven't seen any. Probably a study has been done, but there is a wide gap in pay equity. So if I go into data science, what does that mean for me? I'd rather grow in a functional role where I can rise. Organizational mechanisms for promoting diversity. We need to promote those. For those in HR, if you're on this call and you work in HR, there's a huge opportunity for you to actually pull people into data science using analysis, using reporting. So there are some functional areas where you can now introduce people into data science from their needs in their functional roles. I like the lower part, become an activist for women's representation in data science. That's what I'm doing now. Get your daughters, get your sisters, get your wives into data science. Data is the new gold. It's the new oil. We've been seeing that for years. Well, it's real now because COVID-19 has come and it has shown us that if we don't have enough information, we cannot. I mean, some organizations did not know how to provide data for their employees because it was taken for granted that when employees come to the office, they have access to the internet. Now they're home and they need to join Zoom calls and they need to, you know, send emails, and you never thought that they needed this. So some of the skills that they even needed to work from home were missing. So it is important that we start to, you know, actively pursue women's representation in data science, and that we actively start to understand that we cannot move forward without data. We cannot move forward if we don't understand the importance of data, the importance of processing data right, the importance of securing this data, and the fact that everybody needs to be involved going forward. Everybody needs to be involved in data science. And I hope that we won't have too many questions because this presentation has been very detailed. But thank you again, Lara and the team and everybody else. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Eitayo, for that interesting and impactful session. A lot has been said on data. Data is king. It needs to be converted into information. It needs to be secured. A lot that is needed for businesses to actually move forward. Thank you so much for that session. It's very impactful and educative. Do we have any questions from the listeners? Okay, all we have at the comment session were just remarks, commendation for the facilitator.
Hello, I have a question.
Okay, great. Kindly proceed then.
Good evening. Good evening to any pro team. Good evening, Eitayo. That was very insightful. Thank you so much. Yes, my question is, I'm a real estate lawyer. I'm also into management training. So I find it difficult. I want to start data analysis in real estate sector. Okay. And it's because it's something that I really don't have knowledge about. I don't know how to go about it because I want to include it in my training on how real estate sector can use data for repeat businesses and also to increase their business. And I'm trying to factor into training because once in a while I do free webinars. So how do I use data science, you know, to to boost training in real estate sector?
Okay, well, that's kind of quite a practical question, but let me try. So the first thing that you need to understand is, for you in your practice. So nice. Okay, so I used to say when I was still working in software implementation that you need to know what problem there is that you want to solve before you throw a software application at it. So you've said that you want to see trends, you want to measure trends. So the first thing you need to do is gather what kind of trends. You have to answer a few questions. So we call this the requirement gathering stage in an implement. So it's not just throwing an application at a problem. It is that you need to gather the requirements. So what exactly do you want to achieve? When you get to what you want to achieve, how much data is available? Do people keep data now? If they don't currently store any data, and from what I hear, people usually in real estate, after they rent, they collect their own percentage, whatever it is, whether they're agents. Well, the lawyer continues managing the property, but most of the time the agent just goes away. Now, you need to have a system of understanding what data you want. Is it who is renting what? Who is paying for what? What's the propensity of repeat payments? Is there renewal rates? You know, you have to draw a picture. So data science does not solve a problem in itself. You need to have your questions. So questions are key. So you need to put together what you want to solve, what questions you want to answer, what data currently exists. Don't bother saying you want to start all over and tell people, oh, I'm starting a new research. In a place like real estate, it might not work. I'm starting a new research. Can you start collecting data? So you are now saying you want to start at this point collecting data. It might take a long time before that data is able to make sense. So what can you do with data that already exists? Legacy data. What do people know about their clients when it comes to real estate? What do people know about real estate? What kind of houses? It's so broad that you actually have to sit down and do, and this is in every sphere. You actually have to sit down and say, what is the problem that I am trying to solve? What are the questions that I am trying to answer? And of course, I'm a psychologist, so we do research is big for us. So you have to be able to break it down in order. It's in trying to find the answer to these questions that you will now decide what kind of analysis I need to do. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate.
Okay. Chizoba is asking the difference between data analysis and data science.
So data science is the entire hog, everything that I showed before, from processing to analysis to collection to securing to. So data analysis is just one of the points in data processing, So data analysis is part of data science. Data science is the entire. So they say that there's a difference between data science and there's one more thing that I've forgotten it right now. But data analysis is just a part of, and data analysts are quite important because, like I said, if I have all the data and I cannot make sense of it, then it's useless to me. So the analyst is the person who is actually able to put together reports that make sense to me as a senior executive.
Thank you. Does anybody have, okay, we have a question here from Missy. How does data analysis tie with the broadcast media, especially in Nigeria?
That question is a little tricky. So data analysis in any sphere, data analysis is data analysis. What do you want to analyze? Do you want to analyze viewership? Do you want to analyze how much people are spending? Do you want to analyze whether people are subscribing to DSTV, I don't know all the packages, premium or any of the other packages, whether the people in those packages watch channels or not? You know, you always need to answer, and I think this should be a fundamental course. You always need to answer the question of what are you trying to achieve? But in every sphere, data is important and data analysis is important. In every sphere, it doesn't matter which sphere, but you need to, first of all, ask yourself, what am I trying to answer? What is the question? What's the problem? What's the problem I'm trying to solve? When I know the problem I'm trying to solve, then I know the questions I need to ask, then I know the kind of data I need, then I know the kind of analysis it requires, and then it helps me.
We have one more question. So we have a question from Cynthia. She's asking, said, my question focuses more on HR data analytics. A lot has been said in recent times about data-driven HR or people analytics. The importance cannot be overemphasized. However, how can this be implemented in practice? How can we make it real in day-to-day HR practice?
Okay, I always tell HR practitioners, the first thing you need to know is that people are not automated. So behavior changes over time, and you cannot truly predict. I mean, my friends come and say, oh, are you reading me now? They ask those kind of questions, but it's not true. We read the gestures, you know, it's not, I can't read your thoughts. So HR is peculiar in its need for data. Every single thing is a point of data. That is why from time we have had those bulky personnel files that's, you know, really bulky, where they have all the courses they ever, I mean, civil service, when I was in civil service, the files can be really bulky when the person is retiring. So everything is a point of data. Data must be collected at every point. You must never, you know, you must try and run away from being able to say, oh yes, you can take the day off without any form, without any documentation. How will you know if somebody has been ill, you know, multiple times in a month, and maybe the person is suffering domestic violence at home? How will you start to make sense of the pointers that you get? If somebody is coming late all the time, how do you, if you, all they're doing is filling the whatever, maybe it's I don't know if it's a thumb, whatever you have in your organization, how do you know who is consistently coming late and whether they have a challenge or whether they need, you know, you need information. You need a lot of information. So data is more real to HR than probably to any other, you know, department in the organization.
Thank you very much. I'm sure everybody.
Can I
okay,
add
there's one more question.
Sorry, can I add to what Eitaya just said?
Okay.
In response to that last question. Thank you so much, Eitaya. I mean, fantastic, great session. I was bubbling with joy as you were presenting. I think for me as HR professionals, we need to understand the role that we play here. Like Eitaya said, I think we need to begin to have that data-driven mindset. Gone are the days where we used to think data is for people who are in technical or who are in sales or who are in finance. You know, even HR now, we need to begin to inculcate that data mindset. And it starts from even how we treat information in HR. It's no longer, this is what management wants, but how are we making meaningful use of that data? As little as where does the employee stay? I mean, for instance, for us at in my organization, when COVID hit us last year, it didn't occur to us the need to understand the various clusters of where our employees used to live, because we needed to move. There was lockdown, and we needed to move employees from various locations to the office. That's when we realized the importance of even addresses. Where are your employees staying? I mean, for people who come late to work, understand their location, understand if it's just them that usually arrive late to work, or there are a couple of other people from that area. So as little as those information that we have in HR, how are we making meaningful sense of it to our business? It's no longer just collecting data and storing data, but thinking through the data to understand how can we begin to come up with initiative. I mean, HR, we design policies for our organization. Do you use your data to design those policies? Or management just wants this and that done? But do you look at the demography of your workforce to understand what their basic needs are and use that proactively to come up with initiatives for your organization? Like Eitaya said, it's not just having those data points, but reading through meaningfully, understand the implication and the impact that the interpretation of the data you have would bring to your organization. I just thought to add that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara, for that feedback, and I'm sure you've answered the question because Eitayo has left the meeting. So thank you, everyone, for that session. We'll move on to the next agenda on the next item on the agenda. Sorry. I'll welcome our second speaker for today, Damilola Shoyombo. She's our next speaker for today. She's the founder and director of TCK Zone. All right, Sarah, over to you.
Okay. Oluwadamilola Shoyombo is the director and founder of the Creative Kids Zone, an NGO that offers free training programs to introduce kids to technology by reaching out to thousands of kids in African communities and organizing trainings to introduce them to coding, design, robotics, AI, game development, and other STEM fields, thereby increasing the number of young minds in tech and preparing for the future. She's also a UI/UX designer and designer educator in Lagos, Nigeria. She has vast experience in UI and UX design, working in that capacity across several industries in 3 continents, building products that people would love. Dami specializes in UI design, but is passionate about all aspects of technology. She's a strong advocate for kids in technology, and she would love to see millions of kids being introduced to technology. She also speaks and mentors those interested in learning design whenever possible, and she looks forward to sharing her knowledge through speaking at conferences around Africa and the world. Please let's welcome Damilola. Hello, Damilola.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Anipuri. Super excited about this opportunity and what I have to share. Thank you, Lara, for the introduction. Thanks, Kenny. All right, so I'll just share my screen so we can dive in as soon as possible. Okay, so this session is going to be a very interactive one. I always like my sessions to be interactive, so where I ask questions and you reply in the chat section, just so we can all be on the same page. Okay. All right, so yes, I'm sharing my screen. Hope you can all see my screen now. Yeah, we should be able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. All right, so I want to look at that, and I also want to look at the chat. So I'll just minimize it. Okay, so today's topic for me, so I choose changing the paradigm, navigating STEM fields as a woman or a girl. So I am a strong advocate for women in technology and women who have interest in coming into STEM fields, but are probably facing one challenge or the other. So like, how can we work together to achieve that and to bring more women into STEM fields? So challenging the paradigm. All right, so nice to meet you. As Lars introduced me, I'm Dami. I'm the founder of TCK Zone, and I'm also a UI designer and educator. So what is STEM? Yes, this is my first question to everybody. What is STEM? What do you understand by STEM fields? Like, what do you understand by STEM? So as I said, this session is going to be interactive. I want people to chat. I want people to share their knowledge with us. So what is STEM? That's my first question. So everyone, what is STEM? What is STEM? What is STEM? Science, yes. So electrical say science, yes, that's correct. Science, technology, okay. Science, Cynthia says science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Bumi, thank you. Sinuke, thank you. So yes, I'm very, very glad we all understand, okay, what STEM is and what are STEM fields, what STEM is. Okay, yes, that's very good. So yes, my goal today is to advance women in STEM, yeah, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yes, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So what are some of the STEM careers you know? So I'm still asking questions. So what are some of the STEM careers you know? Can you mention a few? So just mention some STEM careers you know of, some you've heard about. So what data science? Yes, so data science is a STEM career. That's very, very correct and metrical. Okay, anyone else? STEM careers? Software engineering, awesome. Any other one? STEM careers, STEM careers. There are a lot of them. Yeah, we should know them. At least everyone should say something. Okay, STEM careers. What are some STEM careers you know? Data analyst. Very good, very good. Yes. Any other person? Statistician. Thank you to Lutara. That's very correct. So yes, we all get the idea. You all know, okay, where I'm going to when I talk STEM and careers. So I want to be sure that we all understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes, so there are some other careers. There's some other STEM careers, right? I have software developers, data scientists, product management, UI UX design, research analysts, and yeah, Candace says AI. So the list is endless. There are a lot, right? There are actually a lot of STEM careers that we can be a part of. Yes. So now that we have that understanding, now let's talk about some of the key factors that is causing few women to neglect STEM fields. So why is it that there are like few women coming into STEM fields? Okay, what challenges are they facing? And like, why do they think maybe STEM is not for them and all of that? So let's explore some of those factors, right? So I mentioned earlier that my goal is to get more women to come into STEM fields, like at the end of my topic today. So what are the key factors that some women face? Yeah, so the first one is gender stereotypes. Okay, so how many of you once thought that only men should be working in some particular fields? Okay, so how many of us have had that maybe while we're younger or while we're growing, or at some point in your life, have you ever thought, okay, only men should be in so field? Yes, can you mention maybe the field you thought only men should be a part of? So how many of you like once thought only men? Yeah, so Chris Davis mentioned real estate industry. Yeah, sure, she thought only men should be in real estate. Wow. So Tanika thinks that only men should be pilots. Electrical said she thought only men should be engineers. Yeah, so engineering field. So yes, there's this gender stereotype. Your Cynthia said mechanical engineer. Yeah, absolutely correct. So some of us still think, or some women still think, that only men should be working in some of these fields that we're talking about. Oh, when you mention software engineering to some women, they're like, and it's for men, only men should be doing it. Or you mentioned data science and all of that. So it's a challenge that people still have this gender stereotype. And it's one of like the huge or biggest challenge out there. Okay, so another one is like the male dominated cultures, right? Because a lot of people think, okay, some of these fields are for male only. They've sort of been a culture built around these fields to maybe favor men or to favor the male gender, right? Because fewer women will now decide, okay, to study mechanical engineering, because there's already this culture built around the fact that it's for men, right? So these fields have a lot of male cultures or cultures that favor males that has been put there, which makes women like minorities, right? So if you go to some mechanical engineering classes or courses, or like in schools, you see that there are just few women in those fields, right? So we need to look at all these things, all these challenges, and see how we can solve them. So later, we're going to discuss together how we can solve some of these challenges. Okay, so the next challenge is fewer role models. Okay, so girls or women have like few role models to inspire their interest in this field. Okay, so there are even like fewer role models of women in STEM fields, right? So a large number of us, for me, for example, I came into STEM field because I saw another woman doing great at it and I felt inspired, right? But there are just a few of us, and there are a few role models out there. There are a few women that stand in that gap and say, hey, I want to be a role model to someone. I want to teach other people and bring other women into this STEM field. All right. So there are fewer role models. So it's a big challenge. It's a very huge challenge as well. And so other barriers, okay, that is causing this gender gap or is causing few women to come into STEM fields are one, the lack of basic education or training needed, right? The lack of basic education or training needed. So some people don't know, okay, where to get this training, where to get this education, all right? Another barrier would be domestic chores, right? Another barrier would be domestic chores and multiple roles that we play as women. Okay, you can be a woman, you can be a mother, you can be a sister, you can be like we're playing multiple roles as a caregiver. So sometimes you feel, oh, do I even have the time to start exploring technology or this thing that they are talking about? Oh, let me just face my makeup business or let me just face my hair business. But the thing is, we have to be deliberate about some of these barriers because they will constantly keep being there. So it's for you to break through the norm, to break through, to challenge the paradigm, as the theme for this session says. You need to challenge all of these ideals that some people have placed that, okay, this has to be the norm. It doesn't have to be the norm. So you have to challenge and break through these barriers, all right? Also, lack of money to pay for STEM courses is another barrier that a lot of women face, right? So how can we solve this challenge? So how can we break through this gap? Okay, so I want to hear from some of us in the comment section. So how do you think, so some of the challenges I've mentioned, or fewer role models, or lack of money to pay for courses, how do you think we can actually solve some of these challenges? I want to hear from some of us. So how do you think, like what should you think should be done? How, in your own way, okay, if you were in this position, what would you do, right? What would you do to solve this challenge? So so I want some people in comment section. So just tell me, all right, you as a woman or as a man, right? What would you do personally to actually solve some of these challenges that is causing this gap? All right, to bring like more women into STEM. Okay, Cynthia, thank you. So Cynthia mentioned scholarships for women or girls. That is absolutely true. All right. So some women don't have the money or don't even know where to get the education. Okay, so scholarships to learn some certain skills, some of these STEM fields. All right. So thank you very much, Cynthia. So Tinuka says promote platforms like Any Pro to create awareness around tech. That's absolutely correct. So there are a lot of platforms like Any Pro doing absolutely great things when it comes to bringing more women into STEM or tech fields, right? So we need to promote it to be like, funny enough, a lot of people out there, a lot of women out there don't even know that, oh, Any Pro is doing this, we're into data science, we're giving out a scholarship, we have courses on UI UX. A lot of people out there do not know, okay? And when you do not know, how do you access those platforms? All right, so we need to create more awareness, all right? Educated create more awareness, good. Kende says subsidized trainings and scholarships for women. That's very correct. Linda says free training for women. Tinuke says sensitization on campuses. Yes, so the younger generations, they need to know, Because if you don't attend to the younger generations, people still in school, the teenagers, the girls, right? They will come out of school with the same mindset that, hey, men are still dominating this STEM field. Oh, this STEM field is not for me, and all of that. So we need to educate them. We need to constantly take this information to them and stand as role models for a lot of women out there. Yes, so thank you very much, everyone. So your career talks, so Cynthia says career talks for schoolgirls. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So we all have like great ideas, seminars and webinars for girls around IT. Very, very true. So yes, we understand, okay, how to actually solve this. I'll just mention some few more points because I think we actually mentioned a lot. I'll just mention a few. Okay, so one, give girls and women the skills and confidence to succeed in STEM, right? A lot of people don't come into STEM, a lot of girls don't come into STEM because they think, I'm not good enough, it's for a man. Am I sure I'll be able to compete with another man in this field? Will I succeed in this STEM field? So the first thing we need to do is to boost the confidence of girls and women to succeed in this field, right? By giving them training, mentorship programs, right? By giving them access to information and role models out there that can boost their confidence and make them know that, yes, I can actually succeed in this field, all right? I can actually succeed in this field that I'm going into. So it will make them encouraged, it will make them know that, yes, they can actually do a lot more than just, okay, being in the maybe baking industry, or they can come into technology and explore, right? And explore, okay? Another thing we can do is to improve STEM education. Like some of us mentioned, yes, improve STEM education and support for girls starting in early education. You need to start early, right? So improve STEM education and support for girls, right? Try to do more sensitization, more training, more seminars like this to support like more girls coming into this field. Another thing would be offer training opportunities, good, to women coming into STEM fields. Yes, some of us have mentioned that. So yes, more and more trainings. There are a lot of women out there that don't even know that they don't know what STEM is. They don't know what are the fields they can explore. They don't know some of these things. They don't even know how to get started, right? So there needs to be more training opportunities to women coming into STEM fields. All right. Another thing I have is improve job hiring, retention, and promotion pathways, right? So for women, try to in your different organizations, in your different companies, then sometimes you can say, hey, for this role that I'm hiring, this data science, I want to hire a woman. And you insist on it that, okay, for this role, I'm looking for a woman. I actually want to hire a woman for this particular role. For this HR role, I want to hire a woman. So try to improve and include, like be inclusive in your hiring process, in your retention process. And even like when it's time for promotion, don't just say, okay, our promoting men, the women can still stay with it. Try to improve all of these things, okay? Job hiring, retention, and your promotion pathways in your different organizations is going to help a lot in closing this gap. Other ways would include raising awareness, okay, that girls and women are as capable as boys or men, right? You need to give them encouragement. You need to provide educational opportunities to let them know that, yes, they are more than their gender. They're as capable as men or boys out there. Another thing is you need to promote public awareness to parents about how they can encourage their daughters as much as their sons to come into STEM. All right? You need to include, promote awareness to parents. It's very important. And they need to start inviting these skills into their children early enough, right? To encourage their daughters, oh, why not try out this mechanical engineering field? Oh, why not try out this data science field? Okay, so they need to support their children by creating like learning opportunities and positive messages about their abilities. Don't just tell your daughters, oh, you marry and you end up medicating and all of that. All those things are gone. So you need to encourage your daughters that they can be as capable as boys. They can be as capable as men in the STEM field. So teach girls, teach teachers, teach parents that math skills can be learned. When it comes to data science, data analytics, a lot of people shy away from it because of mathematics, right? But the thing is, it can be learned and like you get better over time, all right? So there's a need to promote a growth mindset, all right? There's a need to promote a mindset that empowers girls to embrace some of these challenges out there. And last but not least, emphasize strong and visible role models of women in STEM fields, all right? Emphasize strong and visible role models, all right? Either you become a role model yourself or you look for a role model that can represent your team members, can represent your children, like a role model. There are a lot of women out there that can actually stand as role models and will actually lead a lot more. So yes, we need to emphasize like strong and visible role models of women in STEM. So some of the programs you can explore, one of the programs would include AnyPro's STEM courses. So AnyPro has a lot of STEM courses. You can ask them about it, all right? You can ask them about it. They have, right, yes. So they have like a lot of STEM courses, data science, UI UX, and a lot more, right? So you can ask them about some of their courses. Another program you can explore is that of my organization, TCK Zone. So anything that has to do with STEM trainings for kids. So we do like different STEM trainings for kids, coding, robotics, artificial intelligence, data science, design, website development. Now anything that has to do with STEM training for kids, we cover that. And the interesting thing is all of our trainings are free, all right? So tell people about it, tell women about it, tell girls about it, tell schools about it, and let them come and explore some of these trainings. All right, let them come and explore some of these trainings. So there are like different training opportunities out there that you can also check out. All right, so there are a lot and a lot that you can share. Okay, so my advice to women: you are more than your gender. Right? You are a lot more than your gender. Okay. Also, be open to learning new skills. Is actually very important. The world is changing rapidly, like very rapidly. So you need to be able to change as well and be open to learning new things, new skills. Also, see your career, like whatever decision or career decision you want to make now, see it that it's going to set the path for a lot of future generations of women. All right, a lot of different generations. So when I was starting out my NGO, right, when I was starting out TCK Zone, I saw it that yes, I was going to be defining a lot of generation, like the younger ones. I'm defining the next generations of kids or people that would like be in the tech industry in the next 5 to 10 years. All right. So you need to see yourself in that capacity, right? And you need to see yourself as like someone that is setting the pace for the future generations of women. And lastly, put up a good fight. Honestly, if I tell you it's going to be easy, I would be lying to you, right? Especially when you're a woman in STEM, right? But you have to fight. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep going on, right? It's important. Like as a woman in STEM, you have to do a lot more than men actually, right? To be able to get to that high position you want, to be able to deliver those skills that you have, to be able to be heard by people, right? You have to do a lot more. To be ready to fight, be ready to fight, be ready to learn new things, be ready to adapt. All right. So thank you for listening. So I'll leave the floor for questions now. If there are any questions any one of us might have. Questions like from what I've been seeing so far. Or comments, contributions. Yeah, if you would like to add to any other thing that I have said.
All right, thank you so much, Damilola. Do we have any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Damilola.
Okay.
For,
you can
for
actually
the
ask more
eye-opening
questions. You can write down your question, then we can just discuss them during the plenary session. You have any
All
question
right.
for Damilola? Okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Dami, Shoyombo, for the eye-opening ideals, challenging the stereotypes in STEM and boosting the confidence of girls and women. Also using your platform to train young children and women to learn and acquire skills. That's a good one. I would also like to find out if your platform is, apart from women who can actually undergo training for free, is it open to both gender?
Yes, for my platform, kids between 5 to 16 years, right? Male and female. So yeah, it's open to both genders.
All right. Thank you so much. I think you also need to do more, create more awareness so that people are more aware of such platform for a lot of younger children who would want to go into technology. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, then we move on to the plenary session. However, we'd like to inform our listeners that we have gifts for our most engaging participants of today, and we'll be gifting the HR storybook by Lara Yeku. Also, we would also be giving a 50% discount on business automation for SMEs and MSMEs on the platform. Those who have actually been participating at this session, we would like to give you a 50% discount if you would want us to actually automate your business for you. Okay. So before we go on to the plenary session, we'd like to hear a testimonial from one of our students who have undergone training at Pro Data Academy. Her name is Yemisi. Yemisi, are you there? Yemisi. Okay. While we wait for Yemisi, we'll have to proceed to the plenary session. I'd like to welcome our panelists for today. Tinuke Bosun Okusaga, Lara Yeku, and Wuraola Oyewusi. Thank you so much for joining the program and for being with us from the start of this program up till this moment. We appreciate you all for joining, and we'd like to learn from your expertise. Before we begin to ask our panelists some questions, I'd like to let us know in on Wuraola Oyewusi. I'd like to read her profile for us to actually meet with her. Wuraola Oyewusi is a pharmacist and a data scientist. She currently leads the research and innovation at Data Science Nigeria. She is passionate, professional, committed to advancing AI practice. She previously worked with eHealth Africa, a US firm with the largest data-driven health delivery system in Africa. She is well recognized in the AI community for her work on CISPAC. Our research interest includes leveraging data science and AI techniques for both structured and unstructured data. She developed the NLP datasets related to health, which she made open to global acknowledgement. She's a Pythonista whose contribution to Pandas was recognized by Mark Garcia. The post on our pull request being merged on Pandas was a celebration for the Nigerian AI community. She was also part of the NLP project led by Dr. Wale Akinfadering, Duke Energy USA, which recently won a grant from the Canadian-Swedish government, backed AI for development on the use of NLP for parliamentary document analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wuraola Oyewusi to the platform. Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Also, we're going to be welcoming Tinike. So I'm going to read Tinike's profile. Tinike Bosu Ogunshada, ACIPM, HRPL Manager, and Senior Consultant, People and Organization, PwC, Nigeria. She has over 13 years experience in human resources management. Her experience spans across financial services, management, education, and consulting. Over the years, she has developed expertise in workforce capability assessment, performance management, organization design, career planning, talent management, recruitment, and change management. She's passionate about organizational development and helping young people discover themselves and chart their professional course. Areas of expertise: workforce capability assessment, organization design, talent management, recruitment, performance management development, career planning and management. Once again, welcome you, Tinike.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Good to be here.
Okay, so we're going to start. We have some questions for the panelists, and I'm going to start with Damilola. Hello, Damilola.
Hi.
Okay, so I have two questions in one I'm going to ask. So the first question is, why do women not pursue a career in data science and STEM fields? And how can we increase women participation in data science and STEM fields? The second question is, what advice do you have for young women who want to work in the field of data science? Did you get the question clear?
All right, so yes, I did. All right, yes, for the first question, I think I answered most of it like during my session. Okay, like why do women not pursue careers in data science and like STEM? Yeah, as I said before, most people think, okay, they are not good enough as women. That is probably for men only, right? A lot of people shy away from data science because they think I'm not good enough in mathematics. Oh, when you hear data, you'll be thinking about maths and statistics, right? A lot of people shy away from all of these things. Okay, so how can you bridge all those barriers? As I said, as we discussed earlier, right? More training opportunities, more awareness, let people know, okay, that let women know that they can actually do great in some of this STEM fields, and also keep showing them people that are doing really great, like give them role models to look up to, give them mentors that they can keep looking up to. And then for the second question, let me try to get that right. Okay, so what advice would I give for young women who wants to work in the field of data science? Yes, for young women who want to come into this field, I want to just tell you that it's a very interesting field. Data science, or even any STEM field in general. Honestly, one, it's interesting. So you need to come and explore it. Another thing is it pays well. I won't lie to you. STEM fields, or the men might not tell you, but honestly, it pays well. Okay, the pay is great. Depending on where you work or how good you learn or how fast you learn and how good you become. All right, the pay keeps increasing. All right, so to come, if you want to work in the field of data science, just start it. Right, take away all the challenges, take away all the biases you have in mind, and just start, and you begin to explore, and you begin to fall in love with it. Data is very important, and the world of data keeps evolving. It keeps getting better and better over time, right? So you would always have opportunities to grow. You would always have opportunities to learn new things, and you also have opportunities to actually work in a field that can actually change lives. Like one wrong data can change a lot of things, and also one great data or data analysis or data exploration of science can actually make a lot of difference in the world at large. Yes, so yes, I would advise young people to come into this field, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your response.
All right. I have a
Okay.
question. Yes. I have a question for Wurola. How do we project data science as a key resource for business impact?
Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everyone here. The first thing I'm going to say is that we need to demystify data. Data has been with people, and people have made decisions based on data. They may not know the fancy name, but the woman that sells a banana or maybe plantain, let me use the analogy, she knows the places to visit, the states to visit at particular times of the year when it is scarce. She doesn't need to be a data analyst to know that. If you have grandmothers in businesses or your grandfather, I'm just trying to prove that wherever people are, people make decisions about data. And I understand that there are many fancy things, there are new things, but people have made decisions about businesses and they have made a lot of money, they have made a lot of progress over years. So there's the part of data, there's the what I'll call instinct. There's instinct. You don't need to be a data professional, to make some decision based on data. It's another question if you are right or wrong, but if you know mothers, I've been in clinics, mothers will give you details that this was my experience with my first child, this is what we do when this happens. It's based on data. They may not be right or they may not be correct. The keynote speaker did a fantastic job. She talked about different parts of businesses and how people can use data. So I'm going to, at work, I mostly work in research. I mostly work in, if we try this artificial intelligence algorithm on this, what will happen? We want to build this product. We want to do sentiment analysis on social media data. What happens? Some key things like, oh, this has been done in English. In Nigerian English, we do code switching. That means that I could be typing on Twitter and then I'm adding a bit of Yoruba and a bit of Pidgin English. So when you work with Nigerian data or regional data, the behavior is a bit different from international and pre-made, let me say, models. I don't want to go too technically, but the best businesses are the businesses that can work with data. Businesses that, I think Lara mentioned a point of, knowing where the clusters of employees live. There are a few businesses that knew where their employees lived before COVID. That's why some systems have, this is the staff quarters. So during COVID, the people that are used to the system where people have staff quarters system, they probably did not suffer as much as people that had employees all over. But the baseline is that data is not new. Data has been with us. You don't need to be a data analyst for you to have picked up certain cues. But where it goes to the next level is that why is there so much fuss about data science, AI right now? What is happening that there's so much fuss is because we are gathering so much more data. It's fast. Before, I know people have been complaining about Instagram suggesting things that they talked about. Like, is Instagram listening to me? I'm not accusing Instagram, but Instagram is actually listening, from your search history and things like that. It's because of your presence online, your availability online. You have generated data, and there is something for algorithms to work on. So how does that change businesses? And how does people, the best people are not just people that can collect data properly. I was happy when the keynote speaker spoke about data collection and how it's how it can make your life terrible if if it's not formatted well, from simple decisions like let there be a drop down, let people select, they should not type on it and things like that. So the best businesses, the people that have an edge, I'm impressed about people in HR, people in real estate asking questions about what data can do for them, what data can do for them. So the best businesses, everybody has data. We harness it differently. Data is not new or mystical. It's not something they just collected from the moon. People make decisions based on instinct. It's data. It's what you have collected around. I'm not sure if you're right, but data is much more familiar than that. But the edge that data analysis methods, the edge it gives is I would like to present to a client. It's if we are 2 or 3 bidding for the same project, it's easier for clients to listen to the person that says things like, okay, let me use real estate as an example. Okay, this is this estate. They're able to provide this number of hours of lights per year. This is maybe this is the analysis of this is what the security situation is like. This is the distance from the mall. It has schools that are close to where your children can live, compared to the real estate agent that comes that, oh, come and buy house. This house is 2 million naira. You'll be surprised that as much as people do not want to spend a lot, the real estate analysts that came with data, that came with maybe what they have learned from experience, that they have projected it well, because sometimes people have data, they have made decisions, but they have not projected it well. It is not well visualized. And sometimes I try not to, I say it often, data is not mystical. Many times what you need in your day-to-day work, it's just the simple, basic, tidy, well-done things. Yeah, it's a simple data visualization. This is what it looks like. It's a distance thing, a bit of GIS here and there. So I'll say that not everybody has to come and do, core AI, to make better decisions with data. So in summary, the best businesses, the people that get the best benefit are the people that they have not just, they don't just have data, they have gone ahead to look for proper patterns. They have gone ahead to, people have instincts. Even the local agents, they have things like, the people that live in maybe Lekki Phase 1, they don't usually like this type of house, so nobody will take it from you. It's data. It now depends on how it's presented. Is it well sold? So the edge of businesses, the reason Facebook, Google, they are the top in advertisements. They are the ones that have data. Facebook has your Instagram data. They know what you clicked. The reason YouTube music probably works well for you, they know what you searched. They know what you searched. It's how we program things like, recommender systems. You'll be wondering, how do YouTube know that I like this type of song? It's your data and algorithms. I see people write a lot of things on Twitter. Oh, these tweets, they follow each other. That's AI, that's algorithm, that's topic modeling. So the best businesses are the people that have data, they process it properly, and the people that can present it the best. They are the ones that get all the money. So, I hope that is not complicated.
All right, thank you so much. You've answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question for Lara. Hello, Lara. Hello, Lara.
It's not here. You may go ahead.
Okay, I have another question for Damilola. Hello, Damilola.
Hi.
Okay. So I want to ask this question. You've actually given us some response regarding this, but I just want to refer to another aspect. Okay, is there a bias inhibiting women's success in STEM and data science roles? Are there cultural elements causing this, the decline?
Yes. Yeah, like I mentioned in my session, there are a lot of biases.
Hello, Damilola.
Yes.
Let me chime in. As you go to respond to that question, I think sharing your story will give us a little bit more of a better perspective. What are the biases you faced? What are those stumbling blocks you had to deal with, when you decided on this career path? I think that would give us better perspective, when you respond to this question.
All right, then. Thank you. Yes, there are a lot of biases actually. Okay, so I'll just share one or two that I faced. Okay, so sometimes a while back in a place of work, right? So there were like decisions that we had to take as a team or as, yeah, in a company. And from time to time, we get to see men making some of those decisions. All right. So when I was starting out in my career, I get to see people listening to men more than they listen to women. So some of the time, some women decide to keep quiet when they see, well, no one is even listening to me. But for me, I took it upon myself that I wasn't going to sit back and just relax and keep quiet. I needed my voice to be heard, right? I knew, okay, what I had to offer was a lot, all right? I knew I had a lot to give out, right? Even to that current situation we're trying to solve. So I put myself out there. I told them my ideas. And interestingly, they loved it and they picked it up and they said, yes, we're going to run with this, right? So when it comes to, okay, decision making in organizations, yeah, that can be won by us. So I stood up and I made my idea known. Okay, so another thing would be in when it comes to, okay, my NGO, right, in trying to know, okay, should we train boys or should we train girls? Well, I decided to train both genders because I knew we would need to support like ourselves, right? But we'll focus a lot on girls. Okay, you go to some schools and um, when you ask a boy, we've gone to schools before and we ask a boy, okay, have you used a computer before? Do you know what a computer is? And it's like, yes, I know what a computer is. I've used it before. I'm even on Facebook. But when you ask a girl, when you ask a girl, do you have, like, have you seen a computer? Do you know what technology is? And she's like, I don't have one. Or do you know what social media is? And no, I don't have one. The only time I've used a phone is when my brother gives me his phone to use, right? So some parents still feel, okay, well, let's give the boys, let's open them up to technology and let them explore. But the ladies, let's give them other soft fields that they can explore. So those are like the different biases I've faced, like on a personal note. And yes, there needs to be a way to stop all of that and make sure we get more women, more girls to come into STEM fields.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the response. Chinika, please can you answer this question since Lara isn't around? See if we can get her. So the question is, HR departments are generating more and more data than before. However, there's a struggle to turn those data into variable insights. How can this gap be bridged?
Right, thank you, Sarah. So in terms of bridging gaps, in terms of HR reporting process, I think that is one of the roles any pro is playing around here. If you don't have an ERP, that's an enterprise resource planning, that can help you generate your data and also bring out your reporting, that means you have to go and learn. You have to go and learn how to use probably Power BI or basically translating your data using charts, using histograms, using pie charts and the likes. So there is no two way about it. We're surrounded with data every day in the field of HR, data on how our employees are making use of HMO. What's the ratio? Is it increasing? Is it reducing? That's one form of data that can help you have an insight into, okay, should we focus more on the well-being of our employees and more of them going to the hospital these days? Why are they going to the hospital? That's one source of data. We have data around attendance. I think a lot of people generate attendance data, mainly probably to punish who is coming late, who is not coming late. HR has moved beyond catching the late comer. That data also helps. You can link attendance to performance. You can say, is there a correlation between people who come late and people who come early to work in terms of actual performance? And again, I mean, the world of work is shifting now. So because work says 8 to 5, and for the kind of work I do, I really don't need to be in the office by 8.
Can I come in at 10? There's flexi time, there's flexi policy coming into the world of work. So if I'm still the HR person that is sitting at the door and saying who came in at 8 and who came in at 8:30, and I'm not linking that to actual performance, then that means I am not generating, useful reporting for management, because these are the things I have to open the mind of management to. It's not just about coming early or coming late. In actual performance, there are correlation. And then if I see that somebody who has consistently been coming late by my standard is performing, then I need to look again. Okay, so it's not about late coming. There are some other things. Probably this person, we need to expose him to flexi work. Probably 8 o'clock doesn't just gel for him. Somebody talked about data around where people live. Does he live far? What are those things inhibiting him from coming early to work? So all those data come to us every day in different formats. But in terms of reporting, how are we linking this to business? Are we linking training? You send people on training, and when it's time to report, all your reporting is 20 people were sent on training in this quarter, 50 people were sent on training in this quarter. And so what benefit is that information to management if you can't show me the correlation between profitability and the number of people we trained? All right. So HR needs to start thinking of insights. It's not just about data. It's not just about reports. What are the insights? What are the business insights I can generate from all this data I have? Performance management in the last 3 years, performance management in a certain department has been going up or it has been going down. What can I relate it with? What changes did we make, that can attribute this to? So it's all about generating insights. When you have data, don't just think of that raw data and throwing it at management. 20% people came late or 50% were absent. How does it translate to business? How does it impact on profitability? How does it impact on sales? Because management, they don't like stories. Management doesn't want to hear stories. They want to see, the effect of every kobo spent in HR on profitability. Today's the cost center. They said HR is a cost center. A lot of people still attribute that to HR, that we're a cost center. But in the true sense of it, if you don't want to be a cost center, if you want to be a profit center, you need to start linking all your activities to profitability or to sales or to revenue. Thank you, Sarah. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
All right.
Kenny,
I have a question for Tinuke on how would data analytics create a best people management system that benefits both the employer and the employee?
All right, like I said, so if I can use real examples, so I work for PwC, and part of what we've the kind of data we generate in terms of demography, we've seen that we have a more younger population in the work environment compared to the older ones. So when we look at the demography of our workforce, and we see that about probably 60%, 65% are within the Gen Z, are within the Gen X, within the Generation Y. That means you have much more younger people. So when we are thinking of benefits, we are not pushing forward long service award as a benefit, because young people are not interested about longevity. They don't want to spend, they don't want to retire in any organization. They want to stay for the short period, get whatever they want out of the organization and move forward. So if you are there and you are doing long service award, sorry, you've just lost touch with your people. So in terms of people management, data on age alone can give you 1 million insights. It will impact on how you manage people. Flexible work pattern, for example. Young people these days, I don't have to come to work at 8 o'clock. Why am I coming at 8 o'clock? When what I am doing, I can even decide to work from home today, and I'll still generate, the result you want. All right. So in terms of managing people, in terms of benefits, in terms of reward, how do we reward people in terms of wellness, all these wellness activities? Part of what we also do in PwC, we do something we call away day. Because of COVID lockdown, we've not had it in the last 1 year. A weekend in a year, because we know we have a lot of young people. Young people like to have fun. We look for a resort and we go there for a weekend and we do games, dance, because that's the kind of population we have. So when we are coming up with initiatives, it has to be suited to those people. Otherwise, you lose them. So these are the things HR needs to start looking at in terms of my demography. What kind of things attract? If I have older workforce, what are the kind of things that attract an older workforce? And I start tailoring my benefits. I start tailoring my wellness programs in line with the kind of workforce I have. And when we do this, you see that you can become more effective, in people management, and can deliver results to the business. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that insight.
Linda is asking, she said how to, I should speak more on how to make HR a profit center and not cost center through data science.
Okay, like I said, I will reiterate that again. If you are in HR and you don't have friends, you've not made friends with sales team, you've not made friends with finance team, you've not started. So every data that comes out of the finance department, every data that comes out of the sales team has to be by your fingertips. So when I'm saying management should spend more on training, I can relate it to, okay, because we didn't train in the last quarter, it impacted our sales. And this is the outcome of our sales. The sales dropped by 10%, it dropped by 20%. How do I know when sales drop? I have to sit down with salespeople. I have to be an internal consultant, not just HR operations. I have to be a consultant to the business. So I have to sit with salespeople and, start mapping, how sales is moving. This month it grew by 10%. Last month it dropped by 5%. Okay, let me look at what impact, can any of our HR practices have had on sales drop? Is it that we didn't train people? Is it that people are, in terms of wellness, people are not motivated? Is it that, our health insurance scheme is not working? You need to start connecting those things. That is, how you can show yourself as a partner to the business. When all you're showing management is speaking, you're speaking the management language. You're talking profitability, you're talking sales, and you're linking it to HR activities. If I'm saying performance management, typical example is performance management. You throw data at management and say, okay, after our performance review this quarter, 80% of the workforce fall within the exceptional cadre. And we look at our profitability, at our revenue. We didn't make more money, but all the staff have passed. Everybody is exceptional. Where is exceptional coming from? When revenue is not showing exceptional, profitability is not showing exceptional, sales is not showing exceptional, then that means that performance management is flawed. So that is where management will start saying that these HR people, I think they just collect paper every quarter. They just tick the box because it is not connected to the business. So if everybody is doing well and business is not doing well, you need to sit down back and look at the objective setting process. What kind of KPI is set for our people? These KPIs, are they business focused or are they just a behavior? Because some people, all they review during appraisal is attendance, dressing, professionalism, respect, interpersonal skills. How does interpersonal skills, how does respect, how does punctuality help a salesperson achieve the sales target? What are the KPIs? What are the competencies required for a salesperson? If your performance management doesn't have all this, then there's a total disconnect between what you're doing and what the business wants.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Everything you said was very insightful. I'm sure everybody here will all learn one thing or the other. Thank you again, Timika, and to all the panelists. Thank you, Wala. Thank you, Dami. Thank you. Kenny.
All right, thank you all. Thanks to all our guest speakers and our panelists for the insightful and powerful session for today. We've taken note of one or two things from this session. All right. Okay, I'm sure we've all seen different slides while the plenary session was ongoing. Would like to run through some of the activities and trainings provided by Data Academy at NAPRO. We have data science and analytics, business analytics, strategic HR analytics, artificial intelligence, product management that involves UI and UX design, and in creating employability. Basically, we all need to upskill, create time for ourselves to improve our skills in order to be marketable, to be employable, and to improve in our day-to-day activities. So that's, we'll be drawing the curtain from here. But before then, we'd like a vote of thanks from our chairwoman in person of Tinuke Bosun Okusaga. Please give us a vote of thanks, madam. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Penny. I want to thank our guest speakers, starting with Eitayo, who had to leave. Thank you, Oluwadamilola. I reached out to you in a short while and then you were able to oblige. We are very grateful. And we hope this will be the beginning of very more, collaborations, I think particularly for young people who are going to the tech space, I think we need to do more in terms of campus sensitization, going back to our schools, and then probably sharing your stories. I'm sure any pro will be happy to collaborate with you and then, plan on, taking a tour around our campus and encouraging more girls to come into STEM. And also thank you to Wuraola from the Data Science Society. I hope I've got that correctly. I think we need to also see more of what your society is doing in the area of data science, probably within our workplaces, also coming up with trainings, and
okay,
helping
sorry,
people.
Data Science Nigeria.
Data Science Nigeria, all right. Okay, Wuraola, thank you for making time out. We look forward to future collaboration with you, especially in terms of training and developing capacity across our workplaces. Thanks to all the participants. Let's keep the conversation going in our different spaces, and then let's keep promoting tech. That tech is not just for the male gender. Women are breaking ground. Women are doing great things. And in the fourth industrial revolution, anybody who doesn't add tech capability to their skills you'll find yourself, what they call a dinosaur, something that had relevance at some point and over time lost its relevance. So it's no longer about men or women. It is skill for everyone. Even if you're in HR, if you're in customer service, you need to add data analysis skills to whatever you're doing to continue to be relevant. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It's a bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you.